Thank you, KCG. Uh, it is a pleasure to talk to everyone. From the list of participants which I am seeing, a lot of well-versed and educated and experienced persons are there. There are a few of them who were my classmates also during my PG time, and those who have helped me a lot in all aspects. So it's a nice gathering to talk and share. All of the faculties are already enlightened and experienced. This is just sharing something which really helps me a lot, because when I'm sharing, I'm helping myself. So before going into a lot of formalities and everything, a very warm good afternoon to all of you. I belong to a Swaminarayan religion and I follow it. And one of the important things which my Guruji, Dr. Shri Hari Prasad Swamiji, His Divine Holiness, has told me, and our elders, they have told us that it's better to make yourself learn and have wisdom. And even if a scientist is there, but if there is no spirituality, then this is not going to help. So at this juncture of COVID pandemic, what is important is sharing our knowledge, sharing our fears, sharing our freedom, sharing our apprehensions, sharing our values, sharing our everything. This is going to help us a lot. So harmony with the nature, harmony with the self, harmony with the society is the main knowledge and wisdom which each and every person or humanity has to do it. So today is that experience which I am going to share with you. I'll be talking about a molecule which really surprises me a lot. That molecule is so versatile, it is so prominent, and still it does all the work silently. So I'm going to share something about the enzymes, which plays a very important role, not in the life of humans, or it does not have any role. It has a role right from viruses, plants, animals, each and everything which is there living on the earth. So I'll share my presentation with you. So the topic today which I'll be sharing is enzyme, a eco-friendly molecule. I know that most of you be knowing it enzyme, but just to brush it up, they are called as biological catalysts. They are organic thermolabile catalysts that increase the chemical reaction without changing itself. They accelerate the rate of chemical reaction without being consumed or being used up in the reaction. At the end of the reaction, we get the enzyme back in its original form. There are certain advantages and features of enzyme catalysis. They stabilize the transition state, and they are natural proteins and they are available as renewable sources. They require very mild reaction conditions like 37 degrees centigrade. They work at neutral pH and standard pressure. So as we told, enzymes are biocatalysts and they are not used up in the reaction. There are important features of the enzymes. They are natural proteins. They stabilize the transition state, so they can be converted into product faster. They require very mild reactions of 37 degrees centigrade temperature, pH and standard pressure. They are biodegradable, so waste management can be reduced. They are highly specific, so we get specific type of products, so waste products can be decreased. And the important feature is its selectivity. They have a regioselectivity, chemoselectivity, and enantioselectivity. Because of this enantioselectivity property, synthetic chemists have been interested in using enzyme catalyzed reactions. So as a result, the byproducts can be reduced. And because of all these features, they are environmentally acceptable, so they can be also one of the important features of green chemistry. The production of our daily life products which we use, such as paper, textile, food, animal feed, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, they consume large amounts of raw materials and energy. And because of this, lot of waste products are generated, which has a great impact on our environment and quality of life. A very in thing at present since last decade is about sustainable and eco-friendly things. So the growing global population and improving economics is increasing the consumption of the things and also putting a lot of pressure on environment. So a big question to environmentalists or to each and every person is to find out the solution where you can meet the needs also and you can decrease the pollution. So there is an urgent need to reduce this impact because the human needs are increasing day by day, and so industries are looking for an alternative technologies where we can have this. So enzymatic processes have been implemented in broad range of industries. The reason is because they are specific, fast in action, they save raw materials, energy, chemicals, and also water compared to all the conventional processes which has been used till now. It has been also seen that this enzymatic processes which has been used in industries in comparison to conventional processes, they result into reduced contribution, they decrease global warming, they reduce acidification, eutrophication, also ozone formation and energy use. If you see, wide variety of enzymes are used in different fields, like it is used in detergents, textile industry, brewing, leather, baking, pulp and paper, food, animal feeds, cosmetics. If you see in biosciences for research, we have a lot of different enzymes used in biotechnology and molecular biology work. Industrial use of certain chemicals also, we use a lot of enzymes in making certain chemicals and pharmaceutical products. Enzymes have got great use in the field of medicines, where it is used as diagnostic for analytics. Industrial uses, there are a lot of enzymes which are used in the industries, and we will be concentrating more on the enzymes which have impact and which has decreased the pollution. So because the topic which I'm sharing is eco-friendly, how this is going to be an eco-friendly. So one of the important industry which we have is pulp and paper industry. Lot of paper and paperboard which is produced is used from the wood, and to decrease the use of wood, we have started using recycled wood papers also. So very first is paper making. In paper making, we use lot of mechanical processing and chemicals from which raw materials can be used. So when we use enzyme, we can decrease the raw materials, we can decrease the energy, and also whatever waste product which comes from paper making, they lead to water pollution and land pollution. So people have started using enzymes for it. One of the important process in paper making is known as refining. So cellulose nowadays is used as a result because previously the wood pulp was made, it was pressed between the metal plates and heavy temperatures were given. But now with cellulose you can reduce all these things. So it will lead to decreased consumption of energy compared to the conventional processes. Also de-inking. If you are using paper again and again, the ink which is already there in that paper has to be removed. Then we can make the paper white and use it. So to go for de-inking, chemicals like sodium hydroxide and hydrogen peroxides were used. This again led to pollution. But again, cellulose enzymes, when they were used for de-inking, it also softens the pulp and facilitates the release of the ink. And we can reduce the impact of energy, water, and also pollution problem. Another is in chemical pulping, lignin was one of the important component in the wood, and it had to be removed. To remove lignin, lot of chlorine and alkali chemicals were used, and also to remove the color of lignin, bleaching technique was carried out. And nowadays, instead of using all those chemical treatments, lacase enzyme is used, which can do the bleaching process. And lacase contributes, they reduce ozone depletion and also acidification problem. It also reduces solid waste generation and energy consumption. So we saw that two examples where in paper and pulp industry by using enzymes, lot of water pollution problems and process could be simplified. The another important industry where we can use enzymes is leather industries. Many accessories such as bags, shoes, furniture, upholstery, etc. they are made from the leather produced from animal hides. Animal hides means the skin which we are using it. To use that, we have to undergo a lot of different processes. So leather making uses lot of harsh chemicals, and production and disposal of these chemicals after use led to the environmental load of the leather product. So animal hide, as it contains water, unwanted protein and fat, this has to be removed before the leather could be used. So previously they were putting this leather inside the drum, and lot of mechanical treatments were given, lot of water was used. Also they used lot of harsh chemical which called as tensides, which in reality they are very hard type of surfactants, and they are used to remove whatever lipid material and membrane materials which were there on the hides of the animal. And soda was used, and this whole process was called as soaking process. Followed by that, you have to remove the hair which was present, which is dehairing or a liming process, and lot of sulfides were used to do this. So using such harsh chemicals and lot of water, we had to do this process of getting a leather from the animal hide. Instead of this, now protease and lipase has been used, and when we use protease and lipase, we require less processing time, use of tensides or surfactants decreased, use of soda decreased. Also, we decreased or we saved on chemicals and electricity. In addition to this, whatever the enzymatic processes we carried out, it also reduced wastewater pollution, because all these chemicals, when it went into water, it also affected the aquatic life. So we could reduce that aquatic life problem also by using enzymes. One of the important use of the enzymes we have is in the textile industry. Raw cotton generally we use undergoes lot of different processes, which is called as coring, bleaching, polishing and dyeing before it is converted into yarn and fabric. So lot of these processes again required lot of large amounts of energy, water and chemicals. This made textile industry a very resource which was consuming lot of energy and was polluting industry. So again, lot of scientists, when they were trying to find out, they used different enzymes to do it. One of the enzymes which I am just discussing over here is within 1 hour it is not possible to discuss each and every enzyme, but I have tried to take different industries where different enzymes have been used which could work in a eco-friendly manner. So one of the enzymes which is used in textile industry is pectate. Scoring means at a very high temperature a chemical process is carried out where you could convert this, because you have to remove a lot of cellulose and everything from the cotton and have to be converted into yarn. So scoring is a high temperature process which consumes large amount of energy, water and chemicals like hydrogen peroxide, sodium hydroxide and sodium carbonate. But when we use pectate, it's the enzyme which degrades pectin and it helps in removing all of the hard material, and it becomes easy for us to convert it into yarn. So it will remove a lot of impurities and with very less amount of energy and chemicals. Also knitted fabrics and yarns which we have, they have certain colors and they have to be bleached to remove those colors. So hydrogen peroxide treatment was given, and after the hydrogen peroxide treatment, we had to remove that hydrogen peroxide, then only dyeing can be done. So to remove hydrogen peroxide, again hot water and certain reducing agents like sodium thiosulfide was used. So instead of that, catalysis enzyme is used which removes the hydrogen peroxide in very small amount of water at low temperatures. So thereby we save water, heat and electricity and also water pollution. Also aryl esterase is an enzyme which was also used for bleaching and removing the yellowish color which would come from the cotton yarns and the knitted fabrics and yarns. The another important industry where again enzymes are used is detergent industry. When we talk about, we have surfactants. Surfactants have certain chemicals which are used along with the detergents to remove stains from the clothes during laundry washing. So the surfactants are most active when we use it at very high temperatures, and for that, in cold countries, to have a high temperature, we require a lot amount of heat energy to produce hot water. So when we use surfactant, also the surfactants, when they were washed away, again the same problem, they will go into the water body and they will be very toxic to the aquatic species. The enzymes have the capacity to degrade the stains at low washing temperature and are less toxic than surfactants and are used as supplements in detergent. Studies were carried out where 4 different enzymes like protease, lipase, amylase, and cellulase, they were replaced for the 3 surfactants which were used like ethoxylated alcohol, benzene, sulfonate, and sodium soap. And studies have shown, and even the industries have started using these enzymes. As a result, we have a detergent which can work on silk material or detergent which can work on wool, and still the shine and the fabric quality was not changed. So use of enzymes also save energy, and it also reduces the contribution to the aquatic toxicity when the wastewater was disposed of. Another industry where enzymes play a role is the food and beverage industry. Majority of the industry, if you see the use of enzymes, they are in the 2 things. One is in the pharmaceutical industries, and the second use of enzymes in the industry, if you see, it is in the food and beverage industry. So you can say that about 70% of the enzymes which are there in the industrial application, about 70% of the enzymes are in the food and beverage. So when we just take food and beverages, it comes to right from beer and juice, also baking industry, also food technology. So it's a major source of environmental impact, just because one of the important thing is it uses large amount of agriculture raw material, energy and water. Due to growing population and improving economics in many countries, the demand for the food and beverage products has also increased a lot, and this needs to reduce its environmental impact. If you see that there are a lot of different processes, few of the examples which we take, one of the process if we take is in food making is you have to go for degumming, where when you take certain oils, you have to remove certain phosphoinositides from it, phospholipids from it. Because if phospholipids are present, it will become very, very sticky. So you have to remove these phospholipids. Previously, the methods which were used was again high temperatures and caustic soda in vegetable oils to remove this. The process is called as degumming. Instead of this high temperature and caustic soda, if we use phospholipase enzyme, as a result, the caustic soda consumption can also increase and the amount of oil wastage can be decreased. So by using enzyme, again we can decrease the amount of oil consumption, we can decrease the energy which is required, and we can also decrease the soda consumption. One of the important application of enzyme is in the cheese production. Because many of the people, when they are vegetarian and when they come to know, but now because of biotechnology and because of certain processes, we can have microbial origin enzymes and we can go for that enzymes. One of the phospholipase can be also used for cheese production. And when cow milk was used and when phospholipase was used, it was seen that it saves lot because more amount of cheese we got when use of phospholipase was carried out. So it saves the amount of cow milk and it also increases the cheese production. Juice, if they are very clear, then it is good, because even if certain haziness is there, the taste and the quality of the juice will decrease. So when pectinase was added to the fruit juice, 2 things happened. It increased the juice yield and it also carried out the clarification of the juice. So it was found that you could save fruit, so agriculture demand also decreased, and carbon dioxide savings by 80% was found when pectinase was used as an enzyme for the clarification of the juice. Amylase and lipase, when they were used for bread making, it was seen that sorry, there is a typographic mistake. It increased the shelf life of the bread. Uh, Instead of because of the shelf life increase in the shelf life, it also decreased the wastage of bread. Otherwise, the bread had to be thrown away after 2 days. So, wasting of the food products or the demand of on the agricultural land also decreased when enzymes like amylase and lipase was used. For bread making, also amylase and proteases have been used, which also increases the quality of the baked products. So another important application where uh, we can see that enzymes play a role is animal feed, because a lot of animals, when they were given certain materials to eat, we want to increase their meat or their growth. So the lean meat should increase. So when that type of animal feed has to be given, which has to be digested, uh, all the matter which has been given, if it is digestible, then that can be converted into meat. So they saw that there were certain feed and mineral consumption, even if they were given, certain amount of meat was not produced, because there were certain plant things which are not digestible and it got wasted into the animals. So to reduce this, they were trying to find out if certain fortification or if we can add certain enzymes, then that this undigested nutrients can become digested and can be taken by the livestock. So one of them is xylene is found in the cereals, and this is a very energy rich constituent. But when xylene is present in the animal feed, it was not digestible by pig and poultry, and as a result it remained undigested and it got wasted. So the energy and protein from the feed was not utilized. So they added the xylanase enzyme along with the animal feed. Xylanase enzyme digested or degraded xylene, and now xylene was available to the pig and poultries, and as a result, lot amount of energy and protein those animals got, and their meat and their chicken feed or the growth they could increase. So production of feed, the another example which we can see over here is phytase, addition of phytase. Phytate is one of the components which is found in cereals and legumes. This phytate contains a lot of bounded phosphates and calciums and magnesium. Now, this bounded calcium phosphates were not available to animals when they eat. But when we add phytase enzyme in the animal feed, this phytase will degrade the phosphates and calcium, and now they will become free and it will be available to the animals. And this phosphates will help in the growth of those animals. So the lean meat growth would increase, and so we can use different enzymes in the animal feed also. And biodiesel, we know that the amount of fossil fuel is going to deplete, and we are trying to find out some alternative sources other than the fossil fuels. So we went for certain people were trying to find out what type of biofuels could be there, and one of them is vegetable oils and alcohols can be used as an alternative to the fossil-based diesel. And so, lipase is being used in this, because one of the important way to get a biodiesel is by transesterification of triglycerides, where they had to use an alkali catalyst. But this process is where alkali catalyst was used, we required very high temperatures and chemicals such as sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. So this side reaction can also lead to, instead of a biodiesel, lot of soap formation was seen. So we could not get enough amount of biodiesel or biofuel. So the carbon content decreased. So they were trying to find out if something can be used. So they found out if a lipase can be used, and lipase can degrade triglycerides, and you don't require a catalyst for the transesterification step. Also, when lipase was used, the soap formation was decreased. So by using lipase, the amount of biofuel or biodiesel content increased. Also, this was done at low temperatures, so we could save energy and certain chemicals. So in biofuel production also, lipase played a very important role. So if we see all these applications, In a nutshell, if we see that there are a lot of different applications. So taking pulp and paper, as we talked about cellulose, it can soften the wood chips and it can decrease the energy. For de-inking process, we can again use cellulose and we can decrease the amount of chemicals which can be used and pollution control can be done. For bleaching, we can use lacase enzyme. Xylanase can be also used for the bleaching process. Pitch control means there were certain, if you make a paper and pulp, there will be very little holes inside it, and when you have this holes and bubble formation, this is not going to give us a good quality paper. So when lipase was added into paper and pulp industry while making paper, you can control the amount of pitch, and we could hydrolyze those bubbles. So it could use as a cleaning agent, and it could help in giving us a good quality paper. Also stickiness, because if the papers are very sticky in nature, then it cannot be used for the writing purpose. So when we use esterases, they could hydrolyze certain glue and control the stickiness of the paper. So again, you could decrease the amount of talc, the solvent and the energy which was needed. In leather industry, as already talked about, we can use protease and lipase, which can remove the fat and hair. Then in animal feed, we can use xylanase, which can give us more amount, which could depolymerize the xylane, and it could be digested better by pigs and monogastric animals, and it could work as a better feed, which will increase the yield of the protein. Then in pig feed, using phytase, it will give us lot of inorganic phosphorus. In poultry also, phytase. Then protease were added, so undigested proteins could be digested, and you could have free amino acids which could be taken by the poultries, and it could increase the protein content. Then in fine chemicals, like you have aminobutonic acid production, if you use lipase, then you will get aminolysis will be done, and we will get the production of aminobutyric. So lot of chemical wastage and waste could be decreased. Then in the production of alpha naphthol also, we could use the enzyme toluene orthomonoxygenase. It will directly oxidize naphthalene to alpha naphthol. So other chemical which will get as byproduct can be decreased, because enzymes are stereospecific, they are enantiospecific, and they are regiospecific. Because of these two things, it will directly give us a specific type of product rather than giving us certain byproducts. So you can decrease the amount of chemicals and the waste products coming from it. Then in pharmaceuticals also, a lot of different enzymes can be used. We will get like phenylalanine aminolase is given, which will lead to the formation of CN bonds, and we can get a good amount of different antibiotics. Then lipolase is used. As a result, the cyanodiester, we can have a proper amount of this bond, and we can have proper amount of the chemicals which we want. Then penicillin amidase is used, which can degrade the 6-amino penicillinic acid production, and 7-amino penicillinic acid production will be done by using different enzymes like amino acid oxidase and butyryl acylase. These are all the different pharmaceutical chemicals we can produce by using a proper enzyme which will give us a specific product, which rather than giving us the side products. Because the contamination in the byproducts or in the chemicals will be linked to the pharmaceutical or to the chemical industries. So pharmaceutical industries will always try to see that the wastage is less, and second thing, they will try to see that they get a proper amount, so there is no contamination, so the drugs they can make from this will be of proper quality. And in textile industry, in scoring, we can use pectate lyase. In bleaching, we can use catalysis, as we saw it earlier. Then in bleaching, in textile industries, we can use aryl esterase, which will hydrolyze peracetic acid, which will work as a bleaching agent. Then in detergent, we can use protease, lipase, amylase, and cellulose, which can remove the stabilize, lipase. We can use pectinase, which can break down the pectin in fruits, and the fruit juice production can increase. In white bread production, we can use amylase, which will degrade the starch and it will delay the hardening of the bread. So the bread quality will be soft. Then we can use for the steam bread production, we can use amylase and lipase. Then in cheese production, again, we can use phospholipase. Then in barley and beer production, we can use enzymes like amylase, protease, which can convert starch to fermentable sugars. And one of the things which I have not included, even nowadays for making lot of juices and syrups, from starch we can have fructose. So to get this fructose, instead of using different methods, enzymes are being used where glucose can be converted into fructose and you can get a very high amount of. Even one of the important industry where nowadays enzymes are used is giving us in that is non-sugar sweetener. So in making a sugar sweetener or that also enzymes are being used nowadays. In cosmetics, lipase are used because there are certain enzymes, there are certain toxic materials which are present in the cosmetics. But by using lipase, we can decrease the use of those toxic chemicals and we can do. So one of the important cosmetics required is certain transesterification of vegetable oil. So if you use high chemicals, then these products, they cannot be, they might have certain side reactions, but by using lipase, we can decrease it. And in biodiesel, we can again use lipase where the amount of fuel we can get more. So if we conclude it, industrial enzymes are very specific and they are fast in action and you require very mild processing condition. Also, if we see that this enzymatic processes industry, they save the energy, they save water, they save chemicals, and they also save a lot of raw materials which are used. Instead of using conventional method where, like if I'm making paper, then raw material I need will be more. But now because of enzymes, I can decrease the use of raw materials and I also can use the paper which has already been made. LCA studies also show that enzymatic processing, they also generally reduce the environmental impact. And enzymatic processes is a means of moving towards a cleaner production in the industry. So looking to all these things, we can clearly say that yes, we can call enzyme eco-friendly molecule. And it's we can also say that enzyme is a blessing or a boon because this is a blessing which we got from the nature. This is a blessing which we got from a divine purpose and which plays a very important role in the life of human beings, in a life or in a universe and in a proper. If there is a harmony between humans and between the system and the universe, we can always have a sustainable future and a sustainable environment. Thank you for your patience hearing. So, if there are certain questions, one or two questions we can take because I had been given about 50 minutes. I completed a little early because I thought if there is some discussion we can carry out, go for those discussion. I went for a little general topic because I came to know that there are people from all the different fields, even from botany, from zoology, and enzyme is a topic or a thing which everyone is connected with it. Because even a botanist, we know that right from photosynthesis, enzyme comes. Even for zoology, we know that enzymes play a very important role in the physiology of a human being. If we go for microbiologists, we know that bioremediation and all those processes or fermentation processes, even enzyme plays a role. For biochemists, it's a central molecule. For everything, for all the metabolic activities, enzyme plays a role. So looking to this, I selected this topic, so we can take one or two questions. If you have those questions, we can share it. And even if the participants, if you have any questions or if you have certain information to share, you can also share with us. In bioremediation also enzymes are used because previously they were using a lot of chemical treatments, but then this chemical treatments have led to a lot of water pollution and land pollution. So previously they were using the whole molecules like certain microorganisms, but even when microorganisms use, a lot of byproducts were given out, and this byproducts can also lead to problems because if certain hydrocarbons and they are red, those byproducts of hydrocarbons, they gave certain waste products. So nowadays, instead of wholesale, they put certain enzymes inside this waste molecules, and as a result you will get only a certain type of molecules, and we can have a proper amount of waste treatment rather than having just a mixture of the waste treatment. So that point I did not include, but waste management through enzymes, that is also a point which has been going on nowadays.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
here can I just add
Yeah.
one thought?
Yeah.
That how cost effective it would be if we would like to substitute microorganisms in and their role in bioremediation by using these purified enzymes. How cost effective it would be,
It would, yeah.
because of the problem what you said about microorganisms. I think nowadays it is being substituted by certain fungi like white rot fungi.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure because when you use enzymes, the important, or you can say the disadvantage of using enzyme is to get a purified enzyme, and this is a very costly effect. But nowadays, because of biotechnology, what has been found is that we can try to get a purified enzyme at a little low cost. See, this is when we are talking about a specific type of bio waste which is coming out. It cannot be used for all the common things. But if we think that there are certain bio waste, like they say that if you have radioisotopes and everything, sometimes if you want to it, this was just a preliminary studies when they were doing it, that instead of using this microorganisms, if they could use enzymes, then they can reduce it. This was in general. So this was not for everything, that you cannot use it for bulk treatment. Your point is, Mrs. Jha, it's correct. It's really difficult to use a purified enzyme for bioremediation. A lot of fungi can be used, and they have a lot of good impact on this bioremediation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, sir, I think so. I would like to express my gratitude to all the participants for their patience learning, and also to the organizers for giving me that opportunity for sharing whatever I knew about this topic with you. So if